Hey, I want to talk real quick about Bitcoin self-custody. Now, one of the most revolutionary aspects of Bitcoin is that I can hold it, I can own it, and that means nobody else can get it. That's what we call I'm removing counterparty risk. Counterparty risk is when there's another person, a counterparty that provides risk, that gives me risk. So for example, if I let a bank hold it, there's a risk they don't give it back to me. Go try and pull a bunch of money out of the bank cash and see what happens. If I let a Bitcoin exchange hold my Bitcoin, it introduces counterparty risk because now there's a chance that exchange may not let me withdraw the funds. Now, will that happen? When could that happen? Which exchanges will that happen with? Well, there's different types of risk. I'm not going to sit here and evaluate every single one, but I can tell you that the attack vector for governments around the world, mostly the West, the United States, Canada, is to remove your ability to self-custody yourself. You're not allowed to custody your own stocks anymore. Those stocks are owed to you. You can't custody your bonds. Those bonds are owed to you. And they don't want you to custody Bitcoin either because they don't want you to own anything. So that's the attack vector. And so you can determine how much risk there is. So option one is I can custody it on my own. That's the revolutionary aspect. I remove counterparty risk. The problem is now I'm responsible for custodying it. Now, if I let Coinbase hold it, they're responsible. Their security is probably pretty good, but there's a chance they don't let me get it back. If I hold it, I remove that counterparty risk, but now I'm responsible for keeping it secure. So how do we do that? Well, there's three ways I think about it. Number one, I let someone else custody it for me. Okay, we talked about that. Number two, I custody it myself. Now in that, there's two main ways that I'm gonna break this down. First, I would call it cold storage, and second, I'd call it hot storage. I'm gonna break those two things down for you. But let me just first explain this to you. Even when you custody your own Bitcoin, you don't actually like download it. You're not downloading anything, you're not storing anything. Basically, all you have is the private key. So think about your Bitcoin or crypto in like a digital locker system. And this digital locker system, you have a locker that's like C19, that's your public address. Anybody can have that address, they can go put money or something into that locker for you, but only you have the key in order to open that locker and move it around, okay? So it's basically the key that you have to protect, and there's two ways to protect that key. If Coinbase holds it, they have your key. We call it not your keys, not your coin. I can hold my key, all right? Now, I'm not holding the Bitcoin, I'm holding the key to the locker for the Bitcoin. So one is hot storage. That would be an app that you could download on your phone. It could be a software app that you download on your computer. We call that hot because it's always connected to the internet. That means that a hacker could easily get into it, and it's happened to me. My phone was hacked, my wallet, and I lost about $40,000 worth of Bitcoin at the time. That was in 2017. That's worth a lot of money today. So I don't want to keep a lot of money in a hot wallet like on my phone. Think of your phone wallet like your wallet that you'd walk around town with, like your billfold. You wouldn't put your life savings into that wallet or your purse that you walk around town with. You'd only put what you need in for that day, and if you lose it, it's not the end of the world. So that's what I'd put in there if I want to mess around with some little expenses. The rest of it goes, like your cash, goes into a bank, and this would go into cold storage. Cold storage means that key is now offline. That means a hacker can't get it. So how do we do that? Well, within that, there's two ways. Really, number one is use a hardware wallet. My favorite is Trezor, Trezor. I've been using it for about 7-8 years. It's my favorite because one, I think it's the easiest to use. Number two, open source, trusted. They've been around for a really long time. So I use that. There's a link you can save, I think 10% if you want to use my link down below for Trezor. Okay. The other one is Ledger. I've used Ledger for a long time, but they got into a whole bunch of drama that they were compromised and hacked, so I don't trust that one anymore. Okay, so one, I use a hardware wallet. They're about $60 to $100, depending on which model you get, pretty cheap. Now I can do that. Now let's say hypothetically I had $10,000 in Bitcoin. I could get 3 Trezor hardware wallets and put 3,000, 3,000, 3,000-ish. That way, I'm not totally at risk. If something were to happen to that, I don't lose everything. That'd be one way I can do it. Another way that you could do it is what we call multi-signature wallet, where you need 3 keys to do a transaction. Really, you would need 2 of the 3. So I would set up a multi-sig wallet, and I would use 3 keys, and I would need 2 to sign the signature. I use a company called Unchained Capital to set that up. They have like a concierge service, they can set that up. But you're still gonna need the hardware wallet, like a Trezor, because the hardware wallet is what holds that key. All right, so Cold storage is where I want to put my long-term Bitcoin. It's where I want to hold it for the long term. I want to make sure that I leave instructions for my wife, my attorney, my kids, somebody to get that if I were to die. Anyway, that's it. If you need more questions on that, let me know. Like I said, there's a link you can save, I think 10% on Trezor if you want to pick those up. That's what I use. Hopefully that works. If not, send me more questions. I'll answer them for you.